right, welcome to the M Network podcast. Today we have a very special guest. We're going to be talking about niche marketing, agencies that have a very, very targeted audience that they have to get to, and the strategies and tactics that work best. Joining me, my guest today is Jack Mozloom. That's right, that's no accident on that last name. It's my big brother. He is smarter than me and a communication expert with the NCPA, the National Community Pharmacists Association, where he is the senior vice president of something. Tell us what you're doing there, Jack, and tell us about NCPA.
Well, NCPA is a trade association in Washington representing about 20,000 independent pharmacies. Before that, I worked for another big trade association in D.C. Called NFIB, and they represented about 250,000 small businesses. So I've been in the association world for almost 20 years now and learned a little bit.
Yeah, you have a little bit of experience, and you are a bigwig there, which is of the two of us. It's why I look up to you so much. Talk to me about your audiences. Who's your target audience with NCPA?
So with NCPA, our audience is pharmacy owners, the men and women who run their own pharmacies. We have a disparate membership. They're all around the country, and they form the entirety of our audience. I mean, we have other audiences too. We talk a lot to Capitol Hill. We have industry partners, but our main audience. Most of my time is spent communicating in one thing or another to the folks who pay their dues to belong to this association.
And that's a very narrow audience when you think about it. I mean, how many of these people are there in the world? It's not like you're going to put a TV commercial on to talk to them or have some mass media tactic to market to them. You have to really have some other strategies, much like a lot of my clients.
We do. We do a little bit of everything to communicate with our audience, but I've found that everything starts from a relationship first. So they become a member of the organization, and we start talking to them about that right away. So we try to establish a kind of familiarity and a trust, and then it's a constant stream of communication. So we talk to them almost every day. We have a daily electronic newsletter, and that really is the main element of our strategy for letting members know stuff that we want them to know. We do a fair amount of social media. We're on virtually, all the major platforms except TikTok. And we might do TikTok one of these days too, but there's not a lot.
I would pay to see you on TikTok, Jack.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a lot of dancing pharmacists, so we're not there yet, but that may evolve. We have multiple events in the course of the year, and I think that's important too, because there's no real substitute for a genuine interpersonal relationship, face-to-face communication. The website is our window to the world. Our members spend lots of time on there. And we do some advertising, but most of the advertising that we do is targeted at consumers.
Yeah, I would imagine it's trade journal stuff or geo-targeted stuff, depending on whether they have something going. Because we find with our nonprofits, our foundations, our agencies, our associations, we find that things like display advertising, it scales up really well, but it doesn't scale down well. It's tough to get a niche audience if you're just throwing stuff out there. You really need those direct channel marketing tactics like email, events, things that you could talk one-on-some with your clients.
Yeah, email's the basis. I mean, email probably is the foundation of the whole program, but it's important to supplement it with other things because, as you know, as your other clients know, on any given day, half your audience is not opening your email. So you've got to find other ways to attract their attention. And so we do a lot of digital display advertising targeted at the people we want to receive it. So we will do email mapping campaigns where we, load our members' emails into the system and then serve them digital content based on that. And so wherever they go on the internet, our messages pop up and they see it. And then they can engage with it. They click on it. They're brought back to a website that tells them more.
Has your email open rate maintained relatively steady, or is it going down? Do you see that tactic keeping its steam, or is it trending downward?
No, it's been very steady. It's actually ticked upward, and you can screw this up real easily by telling them the same thing multiple times. They don't want to read the same stuff all the time. And I only learned this from having done it and screwed up. So I'll give you an example. We have a convention every year, and it's our biggest revenue generator of the year. And so we want everybody to come, and we were telling them a few years ago, we were mostly marketing the convention to our members in the daily email, the daily newsletter. Right. And we would put a convention message in 2 editions a week or 3 editions a week, and the open rates plunged because they got tired of us hitting them over the head with the same come to the convention. So, and what I found from the data is the first time you tell them something, you'll get your baseline open rate. The next time you tell them the same thing, that's going to drop off significantly. And the third time, they're basically tuning you out altogether, and you're in danger of them opting out of your email.
Right. They're not even reading the ones that aren't repetition. They're just not opening them at all because they said you're just saying the same thing over and over.
And you're pissing them off. So they're getting to the point, you're driving them to the point where they're going to say, okay, I no longer want to receive this email ever again. And then you're dead. Right now, you can't talk to them at all. So
then you're dead.
Yeah, it's not. It's highly inadvisable. So tell them once, maybe tell them twice. If you're going to tell them twice, find something new about the same topic to tell them.
The same holds true. We've found with social media. You can't really repeat your social media posts too often. Otherwise, you watch the engagement rates just drop off the charts, and then all of your other posts lose engagement too.
The most effective social media campaigns that we've done have involved the members themselves. So, our membership will engage with the content that we post, but they engage a lot more with content that other members post. They like the peer-to-peer conversation. So a lot of times we'll ask our members to help us get, various messages out by posting things on their own accounts. And, that works out well. They like, every niche audience will be different. Video seems to work well across the board.
Absolutely.
They should really short, like I found 15 seconds or less is best. Any more than that, and you're going to lose their attention.
How important is it so when you're throwing this stuff out there, how important, not just new information, but valuable information? It's almost like your organization has to be a news organization that reports on itself and its sector all of the time.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. We try to make, look, we talk a lot about ourselves because we have a lot of things to show our members. We want them to come to events. We have lots of educational programming that we think is important to them. But we also include lots of news in the newsletter that's just industry without involving us. And we even have a section which performs very well, gets lots of open rates, a high open rate, is just a kind of general interest section where we can talk about anything, rock and roll history, sports history.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that even though it's a pharmacy-specific publication, our members have interests outside of pharmacy. They're human beings too, and we mix it up. And that
jives very well with a lot of the new branding research that's been coming out over the years, that people want to have what approximates a relationship with a brand, and therefore it can't just be two-dimensional. You have to sort of vary things. They want to be able to talk about things that don't involve you. I mean, imagine a world where you had a friend and all they did was talk about themselves every time you were around them.
Yeah, right. And we try to talk about the things that will help their businesses too. Like we're lucky to have lots of very strong corporate partners who offer lots of services and products that our members like to hear about. And that's a good steady stream of information too. And my experience is limited to having audiences composed of business owners, really, in the last 20 years. And what are they most interested in? They're most interested in making money. So if you can find things to tell them that will help them make money, whether it's about services, products, or advice from peers who have encountered the same challenges and overcome them, they love that kind of stuff.
That's super interesting, Jack. I mean, there's certain parallels between what your association does and what you're describing, and some of the councils that we deal with that deal with massive provider networks of nonprofits, and they're a funding mechanism. But all those nonprofits, well, they have to make money as well. They have to have, a constant stream of donations or grants or what have you. Do you think that this philosophy crosses past the associations into other business sectors as well?
Oh, 100%. I mean, or talking to business owners. So, I mean, they're also reading the trade publications. So the strategies I'm certain are not that I have experience with the trade press, but I'm sure they have, their strategy is very similar to ours, where they want to provide some information to their members that has a value to the reader.
Now, how do you guys use PR? Are you guys still active with public relations, and where does that fit into the overall strategy?
It's a key element of it. We try to make as much news as possible, providing that it's positive. We try to avoid scandals and stuff like that. But we communicate weekly with the trade press. Anything that we're doing, we tell the trade press. And the trade press, whatever your industry is, has a trade press. And I can promise you, they are starving for content. So even if you aren't sure they're going to be interested, I promise you they will. Sometimes I think if I sent them a recipe, they'd publish it.
They might.
They might. Yeah.
That would actually be a pretty fun thing, right? Recipes from the pharmacists.
Jack Mozloom's, Super Bowl chili. It would be
very good, by the way.
They would publish it. So, and we talk a lot to the healthcare beat writers on Capitol Hill. We're a trade association, so we do, our main job is lobbying on behalf of our members. We talk a lot to them, and lots of the broader mainstream press too. I think that we're published on average about 6,000 times a year. Something that we say is published by some news outlet 6,000 times a year. We've grown that over the years. When I started, it was maybe 3,500 times a year. So we built that up. And as you know, that takes a long time. You have to build a good relationship with reporters, editors. You have to, the same thing that turns off your members turns them off too.
Yep.
If you send them stuff that they don't care about or that you've said 100 times before, you're going to lose them.
And we just did a pretty big study down here in South Florida. We're gonna duplicate it nationally. We asked people where they get their trusted news and information, and number one was social media. But then we said, well, who on social media are you turning to for that? And do you know what they said? Influencers was like 2%, and my other friends was like 10%. But overwhelmingly, people were turning to trusted news organizations for news on social media. They just identified it as social media. So the press is just as important as it always has been. It's just that people are viewing it off a different screen.
Yeah, the distribution is different. I have no problem believing that. we talk. It's a great day for me is like hypothetically, if one of our members reads our email in the morning, then later on goes online and sees one of our ads, um, and then picks up or goes online to find news and reads about us in a story that interests them. Like that's a you've touched them three different ways. And like advertising, marketing, consistency and repetition are kind of important. So the
Yeah,
more
it's also
times,
important that, our clients understand that no one tactic can stand alone. You can't have a marketing
right?
strategy that just relies so heavily on one single tactic. You have to be able to touch people with different messages in various different places along their daily journey.
And you have to do it with enough frequency that they don't forget about you in between,
Yeah, it's not like you could go away for a couple of months and then start back again.
or even a couple of weeks. I mean, we're communicating in one way or the other with our members every single day. It doesn't mean it's always direct, but we're putting things out there that we think they're going to see or we hope they see. The newsletter is the most the daily email newsletter is the main way, but there's lots of other ways too. And I
How
couldn't
important do you think your event is in rallying your base and then keeping them engaged with the newsletter? So is the event the halo tactic and then everything else sort of services that or works as a proof of performance around that?
I think the events have the very important purpose of letting people or bringing people together so that you can solidify the relationship that you began online. It's human nature. People like to see a face, shake a hand, know that you're a real person. Especially now with AI, nobody really knows who's talking to them or what. And so, if you have an event every once in a while, and kind of proof of life, this is really me. I really exist, and I care about your business. Um, that's good. And the events are also kind of a reward for the members too. It's a chance for them to get together, socialize, swap stories, and have a little fun. And fun is medicine. People need it. So if your organization can swing it, I would highly advise that you make having a physical location event part of your overall strategy.
And that event is not just slammed with information, but provides enough space to build relationships and have fun.
Right. The event should be free of solicitations. It's the time of year where you're not asking them to do anything
Wow,
or buy
interesting.
anything. It's just let's get together and let's talk about, your business and let's have a little fun while we're doing it.
Last question, Jack. You brought it up. How is AI reshaping what you do? Do you find it as a tool that you're using to help speed workflows in writing and designing, or is it taking over entire jobs in your organization?
Well, it's not taking over any jobs, that's for sure. And I'm not so bullish on AI as others may be. It certainly has an application. It can help you produce content for sure. And if you have a limited budget and a small workforce, having something that can help you produce content consistently is helpful. But you still need a human being to read the content and to edit the content and to make sure verify the content. AI is just a great big search engine. So whatever it finds on the internet
Nonsense or
winds up
not.
right, could be crap, and you have a quality control responsibility. You can't let that get out to your members. So you've got to do all that. I think that AI is, it's going to have its. There's no question it's going to be beneficial in a lot of ways, but it's not going to replace the need for people to be involved at the center of the content
Yeah, and I
creation.
think I think the more AI comes to prevalence, the more important events like the ones you guys put on are
Right.
are going to that the more important they're going to be to your membership because they want human contact.
Well, I'll tell you what, one challenge we have with it is, we publish a monthly magazine called America's Pharmacist. It's very good, wins awards. And
Sounds riveting.
we have well, for pharmacists it is. It's like Playboy for you. Um, we have outside contributors, people who submit articles that we vet
Sure.
and edit, and then, occasionally we'll come across some articles that they submit that we know have been written fully by AI, and we reject them because, we want to expose our members to people with good ideas, not bots.
Yeah.
And if we're going to pay you for an article that you're going to contribute, well, you better write it.
I love
So-
brag rags, by the way. I like that concept of having a publication that you get your membership or outsiders to contribute to, because anytime someone has a byline in that, 100 other guys went to work, threw it at their secretary, and said, "Why am I not in this? Find a way for me to be in this." And I just think it's super powerful marketing in a brag kind of way.
Well, and you talked about the layers of communication. That's another layer. And unlike the other versions of it, this is the one platform that we have that's long form and allows members to sit down at their own, in their leisure, and really dive deep into something that they wouldn't do online or in an email. All the other stuff is kind of quick hitting, get their attention, let them read a few sentences, and then they're off to doing their job. But the magazine stays around for a long time.
Yep.
They keep it in their stores, and when they have time, they'll read it. In fact, we did a survey of the members, a market research survey, not long ago, and we asked them, which forms of communication from us do they like best? The email, the social media, the digital stuff, the website, the magazine. The magazine ranked second to the email.
Ah.
So now, maybe our audience is not generalizable, but I imagine that many professional associations, trade associations, whatever the industry, probably has the same experience.
Yeah, this is another thing that you brought up that I told you it was the last question. I'm going to make this the last question. You and I are big on research. Because you're dealing with a niche audience, you could reach out and get a good number of them to answer questions on a regular basis. How important is that to have them talking back to you that informs your marketing efforts and your communication efforts?
It's critical. We just completed a organization-wide market research project. It involved multiple electronic surveys and then 2 or 3 focus groups where we got people together and talked to them. And the information was absolutely, it's the way that you can find out whether what you're doing is what your members want. And if you're not doing what they want, it's the way to find out what they do want and what you need to be doing. So if you're not researching your market, whatever it is, then you're really kind of flying blind.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. A lot of good information today. I think my clients are going to feel like this was very valuable, this conversation between brothers, even though we never talk about this ever when we're together.
It's Yankees. Yeah,
Yankees and Giants and
Right.
politics.
Right.
Yeah, we can't do any of that because we'll lose clients.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. I like being on, and I'll come back anytime you want.
Yeah, we'll bring you back on, and I'll see you during the holidays.
All right, fine. See you then.
See you. Bye.